episode of the DewatchPod podcast. My name is Jorgen Smuismoord.
And I am Jim with a G.
We have watched all Black Mirror seasons in reverse order and then season 7.
It's so true. Why did we do that?
Because we were like, we think this podcast got... this...
That's a whole other discussion.
That's for you to decide. We thought the show got worse over time, or well, you at least had the hypothesis, and then we thought to test that. And broadly, I think we arrived at yeah.
Yeah. And it all started with kissing your homies on the mouth, and we've gotten somewhere very different here in season 7.
Yeah.
We have 6. Oh yes, content warnings first. It's. Oh boy, it sure is a list, isn't it?
Yes, can you see it?
Oh, I can see it fine, yeah. I have good eyesight.
Yeah, this is a good eyesight podcast.
Because I eat a lot of blueberries and carrots.
Yeah, both of those are relevant. Definitely. Self-harm.
Euthanasia.
Domestic abuse mentioned.
Implied miscarriage.
Loss of bodily autonomy.
Brain cancer.
The American healthcare system in general.
Suicide. And I want to mark here, first episode done.
Yeah, these are not entirely in order, I think. Gore.
Loss of grasp on reality.
Bullying.
Sexual abuse of children.
Violence.
Incels.
Sudden accidents.
Coma.
Blackmail.
Death.
Implied alcohol abuse.
Infidelity.
Self-surgery.
Schizophrenia.
Police violence.
Drugs.
Suicide and implied 40s homophobia.
Grief.
Existential dread.
Wow, wasn't that calming, dear listeners? Okay, so we have watched 6 episodes of season 7, so there's going to be a lot of numbers here I need to be careful with. Mm-hmm. Shall we go through them shortly, Jorgen?
Absolutely. The first episode, of course, was an all-time banger with Common People.
Yes, and the broad idea of Common People is essentially, imagine the American healthcare system, but like a bit worse and controlled by tech billionaires.
Yeah, no, what if someone enshittified your wife?
Your wife's brain, specifically.
Yeah.
And made her recite ads until she did not want to live anymore. Which is also how I feel when I watch Netflix. Too dark?
We don't have ads on Netflix.
Don't we?
No.
Okay, see, this is where I reveal I am a poser. And we watch Netflix we watch Black Mirror using alternative methods.
We have Netflix. It's just more convenient.
Sick. And then we have Bête Noire.
Yes, this is the pastry chef getting stalked by her technologically super empowered bullying victim until she turns the tables.
And becomes Empress of the Universe.
Yeah, and in case you haven't picked up on this, we are talking about a whole season, so we didn't think to spoiler warning that, but I guess, planting our flag.
Yeah, big, do not watch this if you feel vulnerable to gaslighting. Or worry about the Mandela effect. You will be shattered. Then we have Hotel Reverie.
Yeah, this is the gay one.
This is the gay one, and it's not San Junipero, unfortunately, but it's still fine. Roughly, a person in the present gets voluntarily sucked into playing a part in a movie from, I want to say the 1940s, with her co-star, who ends up being gay. And yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, and she falls in love with a ghost, and it's kind of ambivalent at best.
Yeah, and then the ghost gets obliterated.
Yeah.
Existential.
And then she comes back, but, without remembering any of that.
Beautiful.
Next up we have Plaything.
Our first sequel episode, Asterisk.
Yeah, this is with Chris Capaldi.
Isn't it Peter Capaldi?
Oh, that's right.
Technically kind of a sequel to Bandersnatch. Does not actually have that much to do with Bandersnatch.
It just has a few characters in common and a few ideas.
Mostly vibes, I would say.
Yeah.
Guy decides to start playing The Sims, but advanced Sims.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I need to protect the Sims. And he kills someone, and then he lets the Sims take over the world.
And first his brain, then the world, and he sort of reveals all of that in a police interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that one because it sort of keeps slipping from my mind.
We also have the world's worst cop in an episode, which is saying something.
I think we can't actually make that claim.
False advertising?
He hasn't murdered anyone that we know
But
of.
he really wants to.
Well, yeah, but they all do.
We then have Eulogy.
Yeah, this is another banger. It's basically just about a guy revisiting his memories, and figuring out what the fuck happened with his ex.
Yeah, has the energy of an extremely divorced guy, but like he never actually gets divorced. Technically, he just gets stood up. The world's most stood up guy.
Yeah.
And then he finds out, oops, I didn't actually get stood up despite my cheating and implied alcohol abuse. Wow,
Yeah.
It could have been so beautiful.
I don't know. I think she could have fixed it.
I know we can think those things. Then we have our actual full sequel episode, USS Callister Into Infinity.
Yeah, and this is a sequel proper because it starts with Previously On.
Oh god, yeah. And it's also 90 minutes long, which we faced with trepidation.
Yeah, no, it is entertaining enough to pass the time. It has enough events. It doesn't engage. In short, it picks up with a bunch of virtual people are stranded in an MMO. However, will they get out? And they have to deal with a bunch of authoritarian men who are trying to fuck them over in one way or another.
And they go to the center of the universe where the source code is, and then they all end up in the main character's brain.
Yeah.
It's messed up, dude. Really makes you think.
It's so crazy.
This is why you shouldn't have brain surgery.
That's right. This is why you shouldn't get hit by a car.
We're so good at giving advice here on the Do You Watch Black Mirror podcast.
Just don't get hit by cars.
Don't get hit by
cars. It has
kid.
nothing to do with city design.
You know, I'm so glad it took us 7 seasons to get to Don't Get Hit by Cars. We could probably have stopped it at Black Museum. That was also a Don't Get Hit by Cars episode.
I don't remember that actually.
The lady who gets put inside of the other person's head gets hit by a car. That's how she ends up there.
Oh, right.
Which, like, I want to call out Charlie Brooker for gets hit by a car, but also, like, that's just how a lot of people go. Man, like, that's cars for you.
Yeah, no, I think it's like maybe 1% of people who go that way.
That's messed up to think about.
No, that's like half-remembered statistics, though, so don't quote me.
Don't become part of the 1%. That's what the Wall Street protests were about.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway.
Yeah, what a season. Let's...
Mostly ups in the grand scheme of
let's
Black
start
Mirror.
with a framing device. What was the worst episode?
I want to say USS Callister.
Yep. I think I'm like inclined. I don't know. Okay, I think Plaything was worse. So the sequels delivered on being bad.
Which is really unfair. I think it's hard for me because I genuinely think this is not something you should ever say about a sequel to anything. But I think if the original USS Callister didn't exist, I would say that the second USS Callister is not the worst episode of season 7. For Plaything, I don't care if Bandersnatch exists or not. Like, it does not matter. I think it is worse cinematographically. And it just... It has the vibe of someone, for the first time, picking up any sci-fi book. And USS Callister isn't like that, but it feels more vapid, if I'm going to be really snobby about it.
I mean, you can tell the 4 writers all going at it, right? Like,
there's that, yeah.
Like, it has the energy of something that was brainstormed by 4 people and then sort of glued together.
Whenever I have to explain to someone, like, the Black Mirror podcast that we're doing, I have to say that, like, you know, first of all, we have a parasocial relationship with Charlie Brooker.
Yeah.
And one of those is just imagining that after season 2, no one ever told him, stop putting stuff into this episode. Stop writing. Like, it's fine. You're done. And he really needs that. And
well, he also needs someone to go, please put something in this episode.
But the thing is, I think the second, like, USS Callister into infinity, obviously they did not do that. But what's more, as you say, it has the energy of, yeah, like, yeah, there were 4 writers on this, and probably a lot of them had, like, oh, I have a fun idea, oh, I have a fun idea, and...
Yeah, no, Charlie Brooker, like, fully projected his curse onto all of them, because, like, it I don't think it was a very contentious writer's room. I think they were all very kind to each other in a way that made the art worse.
I think it's also, like, USS Callister, the original episode, is popular, and we here in this podcast do not believe it deserves that popularity. But I think it's also worth noting that I think that's probably where we ended up with USS Callister into infinity, which also has the energy of, like, we're just gonna throw some extra shit on that.
I just don't get why they left the obvious cliffhanger on the table.
Which is that?
Which is the virtual people being in a world with people.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I also don't understand, like, in the sequel here, why they're in the brain.
No, that's
and also, like,
odd.
if you're gonna make them be in the brain, why then immediately hint at we're working on that, we're gonna fix that, like.
So, yeah. But yeah, no, we have, and I think those are, like, the most vapid episodes.
Yeah. Bête Noire is interesting to compare to, because I think when we talked about this a little bit off stream, we stretched it a little bit, but simultaneously it feels interesting, and I think it does still have stuff to say about the way you can let, not grief, but, like, resentment just simmer your entire life and fuck yourself over.
Yeah, and also the way that people get when they don't have any resistance.
Yeah, so, like, I think it has enough to say on those markers.
Yeah.
But
I think it is still a bit thin, because it doesn't, like, it is sort of torn between being a fun horror genre flick and being an abstract thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like, resolve either way, and I think that's to its detriment.
I think there's some truth to that. I think it's also just, like, my feeling on Bête Noire is that it is one of those episodes that, like, it will be significantly worse on a second watch. Like, I think it gains a lot of its power just through the torturing of, like, wasn't it Bernice though? Like, I think it is one of the more effective episodes in, like, pulling you into the feel of the main character.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're someone like me who's really sensitive to that shit, it is painful. Like, I think this was the first episode where, like, I was sitting there in pain and Jorgen was like, "Oh, are you okay?"
Like, I think this episode may have also has one sort of very odd side benefit, which I think it is just, like, a mind weapon aimed directly at the CinemaSins brain.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I support any weapon raised against CinemaSins, so
yeah,
I have to support them on that.
Rise up.
Rise up. I think Hotel Reverie is interesting because I think that's roughly where I would put, like, the full midpoint.
Yeah, no, that's, like, it's very funny because that's just, like, a very clear third.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it depends a little bit, like, I would not put Hotel Reverie third if I was talking about which is the most enjoyable episode. But from our perspective of analysis, I think it is probably the third best.
Yeah,
and
no, it's got stuff going on. It asks really interesting questions.
Yeah, and it doesn't always execute as well as I would want it to.
But
it is not horrific, even then.
Yeah, and, like, it does... like, I think people have unduly strong opinions about Aquafina.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I'm on the positive side.
And, yeah, no, like, she... like, this episode does some things tonally which are unusual for Black Mirror, because, like, usually, like, they sort of think about power as very ominous things, right? And in this case, it's like an overworked middle manager who is so far far beyond her, like, depth.
Well, I actually want to put a pin in that, because I think this is something genuinely interesting about this season, and I think this is an evolution that started probably in, like, season 5 with Smithereens. The depiction of the dystopian rulers of our time being dumb, incompetent, selfish idiots. And I think, like, Aquafina is, like, the nicer version of this, but I think it actually shows, like, it shows up in common people. We talked a little bit about, like, our interpretation of Bête Noire. Like, this idea of, like, you know, the people who rule us in techno-feudalism, they're not superhuman.
Are you referencing specifically Yanis Varoufakis' coining of the term, or just sort of the vibe?
The vibe, more so.
Okay, just checking, because I would need to brush up.
That is very fair. But just, like, in general idea of, like, the leaders of our time not being god kings.
Yeah, no, like, God, they're all fucking morons.
I think season 7 is where this has really come to fruition. But yes, let us put a pin on that and talk about our last 2 episodes, the ones that we have, like, just unequivocally good opinions about.
No, just pure bangers.
Yeah.
And, like, I do think it's interesting to compare Hotel Reverie to Eulogy, because they deal with very similar themes, from, like, different approaches. And, like, I think in a sort of Black Mirror sense, Hotel Reverie definitely tries to be more Black Mirror.
Yeah, like, it is much more in the, like, it has much more bleakness to it. It has much more, like, hey, you know the psychological weakness you have? It's gonna haunt you forever. I'm sorry. Like, you're just screwed on this one. It just has a lot more, like, very traditional Black Mirror setup. I would say the humor is weird to me in Hotel Reverie. Like, it just has a different setup for how humor works, I would say. But yeah, like, broadly, like, it's... I also think, like, Hotel Reverie is trying to do more than Eulogy, and I think that's why Eulogy is better.
Yeah, but I do think, like, Hotel Reverie deserves, like, a lot of credit for being quite ambitious and lending a fair portion of it, even part way.
Yeah, absolutely. Hotel Reverie is, like, I could not at all say Hotel Reverie is a failure.
No. And we have, like, the 2 sort of tied champions.
Yeah, and, like, I think we even talked a little bit about this, maybe, like, after Eulogy, like, do we think Common People or Eulogy is better? And, like, I think we just kind of completely drew on that, because it's, like, the rough analysis I remember us having is, like, Common People is more traditional Black Mirror, and it's I would say it is more ambitious than Eulogy. It is more tightly tied to technological issues that currently exist in the real world. And it does falter a bit more than Eulogy. I think it is more imperfect, I guess is the slightly awkward way to put it. I think it has tone issues. I think some people won't agree with that, but I think, like, it is enough for me to point it out. And Eulogy feels a lot sharper. Yeah. Eulogy just feels like it has the thing, it gets to the point.
Yes, and it trades some, like, ambition for that, right? Because
absolutely,
it's like, no, where technology is purely a vehicle. We're telling a dramatic story.
Yeah. I think we were also talking about, just like with Eulogy, it could have been told without the technology, right? Like, the technology feels much more like a flourish, and that's not true for Common People. And I think in Eulogy, it is not enough for me to, like, take a notch from it, but it is an interesting comparison. Yeah, like, Common People is more entrenched in what Black Mirror is than Eulogy. So Eulogy feels more like it could have just been an independent short film. Yeah, no,
and, like, I want to say, like, if we're grading on, like, sort of a composite of Black Mirror-ness and being actually good, like, I think Common People might be the winner just all over.
Okay.
For the entire series. Like, I hold it in very high regard.
I would have to agree. Like, it's interesting, because, like, I think Common People is such a fascinating episode for me, because it feels like it takes some of the best stuff about Black Mirror, the intertwining of socio-technological issues with the people who have to suffer from them and who have to respond to them. And then there are just little bits where I can see the like later rot of Black Mirror setting in, right?
Yeah.
Like the way it feels a bit too obligated to like put in this sort of like wacky humor. It feels a bit too obligated to be like, and we're gonna make it the worst possible thing in a way that like you just die. Like it's, you know, like it's a bit too unexamined, but it like these things do not drag it down to me.
Yeah. And I think with this we also have we have the other thing that I'm always or one of the other sort of dualities of Black Mirror that we're always interested in, right? Because common people is quite focused on the personal experience of technology. And I'm trying to think, like, do we have any, like, more wide-ranging views this season?
Like we've talked about this in the past. I think when we did our season 1 recap, we had a kind of broad idea of like which seasons are more personal, which seasons are more system oriented.
Yeah.
And like common people is interesting because I would agree it's mostly personal.
Yeah.
But it has an element of seeing the system grow, right? Like into its most horrid form.
Yeah, and like we're there beat by beat.
Yeah.
So it's like it is very much using the personal to like get at least a little bit of that sort of wider angle in there. But and I'm almost thinking like it might be actually, despite being so viscerally personal, might be the most systems viewing of the season.
Yeah, I'm pondering this as well because like going through them, Eulogy is just it's a personal story. Like it could not exist outside of these two people, or these three people, arguably.
And, like, I think it would suffer from any expansion.
Yeah. Plaything is very strange for me to analyze. Because it's not really talking about a system, is it?
No.
Like, it's broadly talking about, like, a human experience of obsession. But, like, I feel like I'm being a bit generous with that.
Yeah, no, like... Plaything is so fucking devoid of...
And unfortunately I have to say the same thing about USS Callister, right? Like, it makes some broad points about, like, the misogyny of, like, the sort of, like... I mean, they literally say, I'm a nice guy, as he's, like, trying to keep someone sexually captive.
I think twice.
Yeah, so there's that, but, like... And it talks about, like, tech billionaires and their cover-ups, but, like, not in a way that feels insightful about the industry so much as, like, this guy's just a shithead, isn't he?
Yeah, and, like, I think there's more in there in general than in Plaything.
Yeah.
Because Plaything is so by the numbers, and Callister has some, like, legacy complicating things.
Yeah.
For the better, I guess. In this particular comparison.
Hotel Reverie is kind of interesting to me, because on one hand you can definitely view it as just a personal story of someone growing obsessed. Like it's very pure limerence in a sense, right? Like technology-assisted limerence.
And for the listeners, why don't you explain what limerence is?
Oh no. Limerence is a word I used to vibe out love, but kind of bad. No, limerence, roughly like the idea of like, I think you put it as like being in love with a ghost is kind of part of it. The idea of like some like, it's not even just like unreciprocated love so much as it's like being in love with an idea, right?
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about that experience.
It's a fucked up thing to do to a person.
Yeah, and
I guess it's better if they're dead than it's just bad for you.
Yeah, but I think like Hotel Reverence talks a little bit about that with the idea of like dead queer celebrities who died because of their queerness. To be clear here, that's important. Like I think it has some interesting things to say about that. I don't know if it comes to fruition fully, but like I do think there's an element of system in there about like having to go through the acting industry as like a queer person.
Yeah,
right? Because like we even have Issa Rae's character basically being like, I always get cast as the fuckable sidekick. And I'd really like to have like a leading role.
Yeah. I hate to do this to you on mic. But I just had the brainwave. Do you think Charlie Brooker specifically was inspired by people speculating on whether Kurt Cobain was a trans woman? 'Cause
I cannot imagine that Charlie Brooker is that online.
but like you see it, right?
No.
Okay. You know what? Either this goes very deep, or we're fine to move on from it here, and I'm happy with the latter.
I will fully admit I do not even fully understand the point you're making, but
It's just going like, dead person. Like me? Maybe. You know? just protection. I guess it's not just protection in this episode, but you know.
I see what you're getting at.
But yeah.
No, is my response.
Fair enough.
But then yeah, finally, like, Bête Noire, I will actually pitch. I think that might be the most systems-oriented one. And I think it's by complete accident. Because I genuinely think this strikes me as Charlie Brooker, like, had, like, a Mandela Effect episode in his mind for, like, 5 years minimum. And he's like, I got some space, I'm putting it in. And it just kind of accidentally, to me at least, and I'm being very unkind to Charlie Brooker, as we tend to do, but like, the vibe I get is just that, and the fact that, like, by accident it kind of comes out in the, like, bullying, like, that kind of system, the people it produces, and how that manifests in the real world outside of school, right? Like, when you become adults and you're like, hey, I've got 15 years worth of bullying to get back on mostly people who did not bully me.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably, like, I think I would have liked to see maybe more in USS Callister. Just throwing that one out there. Not that would come up. Anyway. But yeah, that's roughly where I am at. But what I will say in comparison to some earlier seasons where it's felt like the vibe has flown a little bit too far in either, like, a personal or a systems direction, the peak here of, like, common people is so good at interweaving those perspectives. And that, as we've said many times, is where Black Mirror shines.
God, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And it's like, I realize this is like, I was going to say this is armchair analysis. We are literally sitting on the sofa, right? We are not involved in the TV industry.
Yeah, it doesn't have arms, unfortunately, to rest our arms on.
Yeah. Well, they do, but they're far away.
Very far.
But, like, the thing that kind of strikes me as we keep doing these episodes, now that we've technically come to our end, is it seems so obvious. Like, do the thing you're good at. Why do you keep doing this thing you're bad at? Like, I understand it's more complicated and clearly you have to vary it, but also, like, when they do that thing, it turns out well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think in this case, it's, like, there's something like, it's not just like, what if technology encroached in our lives, right? It's like, it's that, but it's like taking concrete pieces, right?
Yeah.
It's going like, hey, what if technology encroached in our lives? Brackets, advertising. And like it is just very straightforwardly like going like, I read this article on something called enshittification. What's the worst that could be? What's the absolute fucking worst? And like a couple weeks after we recorded that episode, it was on the news that a guy was killed, like more or less on stream for pretty much the thing that the episode does.
Yeah.
Just, you know, not personally made, just like, hey, if you give me money, someone will choke me out or whatever, until I die, by accident, more or less. Well, I
At
think
some point, by accident, it's kind of like I'm gonna jump off this cliff, and if I die by accident, like it's the accident part is really starting to strain at
yeah,
some
no.
point.
Hot take, maybe that kind of site should be illegal.
Yeah, I actually want to like. This isn't super relevant to Season 7 specifically, but like something we haven't talked about that much is that like Black Mirror in the common parlance for a long while, and I want to say it's less these days, but like for a long while, it was used to just be like, oh, hear about horrific technological thing being developed. Oh, this is just like Black Mirror, right? Or like, oh, Black Mirror was so prescient again.
Yeah.
And I think like a little bit of this is just like the pure interconnectedness of all of this. And I think like this is kind of one of those things where like Black Mirror, common people, is at its core free things picked out from the real world. American healthcare system, horrific.
Specifically, like privatized healthcare.
Yes.
And hey, how do we make that really bad? I know, a startup.
Yeah, and that's the other part. Like
AI startup.
point two, and shitification and like the sort of tech bro approach to anything.
To monetizing in
To
this
monetizing,
case.
yeah. And then number three, people killing each other on Twitch for money.
Well, in this case, the direct equivalent is Kick,
Yeah.
the Nazi streaming service.
Yes. And like you can pick out these three things, put them together, and because of how interconnected the world's issues are, those things will just end up being accidentally prescient.
Yeah, no. Oh, like a startup that's going to monetize things, and make the experience worse. Like, that hits healthcare, that hits, enshittification at once, right? And healthcare startups do exist. And as soon as they can wriggle their way out of being, like subject to the strict rules for medical stuff, they do bad shit.
Yeah, and I mean also just like we talked about this in the episode about like common people talking about subscription as like a way to maintain your health. It's just like that's what it's like if you have diabetes in the US. That's just insulin, man.
Yeah, no, like
Like if anything, common people is being quite kind because at least she's alive.
well, yeah.
She just has to spout ads. Like it's horrific, but it's arguably better than a lot of people in the US healthcare system. Sorry, this is going to be a pretty depressing episode if you haven't caught on by this point.
No, it's like it really hits you in the gut.
And actually, I want to say, I think that's another marker when Black Mirror does its job. Because Black Mirror loves misery, it loves hells, etc., etc.
Yeah.
We talked about this many times. But where that just goes from meaningless misery porn to like actually interesting is when it doesn't have to be realistic in that sense, but when it actually hits upon real tragedies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the horror that is common people. Even something like Eulogy, I would say, is like, yeah, that's just some people end up in situations like this, and it sucks, and it's sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do think there is an interesting alternate cut of Eulogy, where he just never finds out.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that sort of stuff is equally, like, interesting to think about.
Yeah. Like, would you want to know? I, personally, it's an interesting question, and it would definitely cause me great pain.
I think it's one of those things that, like, if you ask me now, yeah, I'll answer yes, but, like, I don't know how to deal with that. Like, I don't know how to actually sit there and take that information.
Yeah.
I can just broadly be like, yeah, you shouldn't run away from your problems, man. I don't actually have to deal with that, like, fucking revelation.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's dead, What are you gonna do?
Be sad. I want to take a moment, because I feel like we need to carve out at least a few minutes to talk about why did they do sequels.
We talked about this a little bit when sequels were still coming up.
Yeah.
And I had the hypothesis that, I'll just keep them a bit more honest.
That's true. Yeah, you did say that.
And I mean, like, I think I kind of want to discard Plaything, because Plaything is I
don't think it's enough of a sequel.
Yeah. I think with Callister, it's a weird one, right? Because, like, they realize, to a degree, that they can't just retread ground. So they sort of compartmentalize some of the retreading, at the end. And they just, like, stuff in a lot of things. But at no point do they go, oh, here's room for a new thing that we set up in the previous episode, like, very blatantly. And I do not know how to, like it was all there.
Yeah.
And they were like, anyway, that's probably nothing. There can't be anything good there. Let's revisit these ideas in a more action-packed and slightly varied manner. And I like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I, like, the thing that really strikes me about, like, USS Callister is just to, like... Okay. We've talked in the past about, like, how Black Mirror has previously done retreads in a certain point, right? Like, it becomes extremely apparent once you go through the insane journey that we have of watching Black Mirror backwards, a thing normal people do and want to achieve. But, like, it does strike me just how much, like, so much of the time when they have to retread areas, they just do it more specifically and worse.
Yeah, no, I do think, like, if they had just make a similar episode, like, they wouldn't have compartmentalized Jesse Plemons. He would have been, like, stomping through the entire episode and going like, yes, I'm a nerd, but I also disrespect women. And
Yeah.
And my nerdness has given me a lot of social and economic power that I do not understand that I have entirely, because I still think of myself as the underdog.
Yeah.
And, I do think that would have been worse.
That's a fair point. Like, I think it's interesting, because, like, we've also, like, one other thing that we've looked at as we've gone through Black Mirror is the idea that, like, early Black Mirror gets its reputation for bleakness, weird technology. That's roughly it. Like, maybe a hope spot, but then shit's bad, man. I'm sorry to tell you this. And into, like, season 3 and 4, you start seeing that they play into that just a bit too much, and the stupid twists to make things bleaker start showing up, right? And I feel like, to me, the sequel, like, actually just straight up doing a sequel is, like, the final form of that.
Could you elaborate on that?
Well, like, just, I think, like, Black Mirror is kind of cursed by its own reputation. When Black Mirror was its peak, it was just, like, it's sad, you're gonna cry while watching it, etc., etc. And I think, like, it really bought into itself of that, and USS Callister, as mentioned, really popular among the fan base. And so they were just like, yeah, we can do that again. That's my personal theory.
Maybe. I mean, it is a bit rough to start with the best episode and end with one of the two tied for worst.
Yeah.
I guess it is just an energetic watch, so...
Yeah, I want to say,
it
like...
papers over a lot of things.
I feel like a fair thing to say about Season 7 is USS Callister and Plaything are the worst episodes of Season 7, but I don't think they even approach... Like, I don't think they're bottom 5 of the series.
Like, the thing... They definitely stand out in, like, much higher quality company, and it does make them look real bad.
Yeah.
To be like, oh yeah, no, we've just watched the eulogy. What's next?
Like,
oh, a retread, you say?
But, like, I think it's just, like, because I just had a thought, right? Like, USS Callister into Infinity is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I cannot help but think of Beyond the Sea, where we are both sitting there fucking dying.
It was miserable. Like, Callister, for all its faults, energetic.
Yes.
Like, you do not run out of events to
Stuff
have
sure
thrown
happens.
at you. And, like, if it's 90 minutes, that's a real saving grace.
Yeah.
Just, like, pure experientially. And, like, like the actors do pull their weight. More than it probably.
The actors, like every single really bad episode of Black Mirror is like, you can get pretty far with the actors.
And like it does also have a leg up on Beyond the Sea, which to be fair, very low bar, but like the comedy is good.
Yeah.
And that also like energetic, funny, like you could convince me to watch this like independently. Probably.
Yeah, honestly. Like, it wouldn't be the highlight of my month, but I'd be like, yeah, that was enjoyable.
Yeah, we would be very annoyed. We are so annoyed because it's in this context where we like expect a little bit of depth.
It also, like, I will go so far as to say, if you after what is it? It's like 15 years? Something like that from season 1. If after 15 years of making an anthology series, you throw in a sequel, I will admit, I will have a little bit of like, okay, please justify that to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, here's thing is, as a certified Callister 1 hater, like, hey, if I want to convey these ideas to someone, maybe I show them Callister 2, just because, it doesn't shit on Star Trek for like half of its like runtime.
Yeah.
Which is like one of the most like ideologically utopian like artistic like popular media projects.
It's wild to think about, like, kind of how it comes to for me is eventually that like Callister 2 feels like a re-release. Like, we did the same thing again, and this one is meant to replace the prior one. And that's insane. That's not how sequels work.
Well, you say that.
For the that's true if you're making a game, for the most part, but like for making that's just not how movies work. And at 90 minutes, essentially.
I mean, you say that, but I'm remembering some movies that were like, yeah, no, we're just gonna do that again.
Okay, fair enough.
And I don't think it's good. But it certainly is a practice in a lot of industries.
Fair enough.
I mean, no. No, it's bad. It's just not Black Mirror's invention.
Yeah, it's just a strange
Maybe
idea.
it's a meta commentary on the TV industry. Let's not go there. But yeah, no, we have a like very strong like pair of episodes in the season in like a thematic sense, with Eulogy and Hotel Reverie, right?
Yeah.
They're both the like, ooh, yeah. What if I like had some fucked up feelings about someone who was not accessible to me? And they're both about people who are getting themselves into all kinds of shit, chasing a ghost.
It's another one of Black Mirror's episodes of like, hey, you know those unhealthy tendencies you have? Would you like to just like indulge in them like a lot?
Yeah, no, and it's genuinely fairly new ground. It's not that closely tied to technology, with like the particular ghost thing, but like it's a fresh air. It's good stuff.
I also think like I think one of those things that makes me really glad is that like, if I felt like if these two episodes were in different seasons, one of them would have been a retread of the other. But they do genuinely take different approaches, right? Like, one of them is about, like, my ex that I had a really bad relationship with, versus another one is like, I just really think Marilyn Monroe is pretty, and I'm just gonna, like, fucking destroy my life over that a little bit.
Well, to be fair, she didn't know what she was signing up for.
True.
On many, many levels.
I think, like, one of the things that makes Eulogy... And, like, I will say, I think Hotel Reverie is a harder pitch, but I think one of the things that makes Eulogy work a little bit better for me is just the fact that, like, we know this man. And, like, it gets built up, but we know that this man just, like, first of all, is like this. And also that he actually had a relationship with the person in question.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the things that, like, it was not enough for me to, like, ding it by any means, But like, I was a little bit like taken aback by how quickly this woman was just like, "Yeah, I'm now obsessed."
Yeah, no, I mean, they both sort of elide that step, which, like, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, what's in there that's so hard to show?
Well, okay. Let me ask you like a question that might be just straight up mean. Do you think Charlie Brooker writes relationships well?
Um, I don't know if he writes them much at all.
Do you think he writes chemistry well?
Um, I am getting a flashback to one of my least favorite episodes, the dating app one, what's it called?
Hang the DJ.
Hang the DJ?
Yeah.
And I'm saying no.
I'm thinking about Be Right Back. And just like
I'm saying no.
yeah, like Charlie Brooker. I want to go so far as to say I think Charlie Brooker is just like a good writer, but like making it clear these two people are good together is not one of his strengths. And I'm sure by individual episode, you can ask yourself like, does he want you to think that? But I just cannot think of an episode where San Junipero is the only exception, and I just straight up think so much of that is carried by cinematography.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Yes. But I feel like in Hotel Reverie, right, it makes sense, like on the face of it, because one of the questions that we're supposed to like wrestle with is this like construct like at all real? But it's not that's not a question in Eulogy.
No.
Her daughter's there, you know. She's left her trace on the world, and some of it has been very meticulously erased.
Her daughter's there, and she's mad at you for being such kind of like a dickhead.
Yeah. So like in that, so I'm confused by the parallel, because it should have been a difference, right? Because she is extremely real, but I guess one of the readings might apply to resolve that is that, like, well, she was, but now she's just an object of recollection, and we're not allowed to see her anymore because we burned all the photos, and the past is a foreign land. We cannot go back.
Yeah, and I think that is like a genuinely interesting parallel, just because like we have Hotel Reverie, which is about a woman who died, I want to say like 60 years ago or something like that, and she's just like completely not there. The information that our protagonist has on her, like, and the thing that is imprinted into like the movie AI of her is just, that's public information stuff.
Yeah.
The only hint we have to her personal life are like the fact that she killed herself. And like we get a bit extra of like her clearly having had like a lesbian romance, but to be honest, I don't know where that comes from.
I mean, it's like read very read between the lines.
Yeah.
Like, and I forget like what details they put in, but like it is it is meant to be like understandable without the use of like super powerful computers, right? Because Ray picks up on it before going in the computer.
For sure. But I think that's the interesting part, Rico. It's like what we have of this old timey queer is pure, like there is nothing but the parasocial relationships here. She has never spoken to, I guess apart from the like framing device lady who owns the like movie company, she has never spoken to anyone else in this episode.
Yeah.
Whereas in Eulogy, they have had a relationship. Like this man knows this woman, but she's still not there anymore.
Yeah.
She is not responding to the things you theorize about her.
Yeah, no, I guess that is the parallel is more or less that both of these episodes are resolutely stuck in the present, right? We're getting flashbacks, but we're not getting diegetic flash. We're getting flashbacks which are explicitly relayed to us through a narrator in eulogy, because that is all we have, right? Where the camera remains in the present. It can only record what is relayed. It cannot go through time. Like, you could do that in a film. Both of these choose not to, right? And there's actually Hotel Reveries breaks a little bit with this, because we have the construct leaving the hotel and going into the data structure, and sort of like seeing, like, quote unquote, herself, like, through time and sort of coming together in a larger way. And that's like the only time that happens in these episodes. It is never accessible from the viewpoint, like the protagonists. They're stuck in the present. And we are by and large stuck there with them.
I think like really both of these are kind of in a way like the role about the power of speculation, if you will, right? Like there's that interesting thing with eulogy where you just have like, there's a span of life that the daughter knows nothing about, and there's a span of life that Paul Giamatti knows nothing about, and those are completely non-overlapping.
Entirely.
But in both of those, they have a lot of information about the events, but nothing really about her reaction to those, right? Like, all of that is extrapolated. Like it's quite clear that she becomes quite like a, I guess, like, she's not interested in speaking about, like, the old times with her daughter, and she never contacts Paul Giamatti again. Like,
well, she promised.
True. Oops. Rip in peace. That relationship, I still kind of believe that's for the best. Anyway.
I think we're left. I think the cinematic language is trying to leave it at worst ambiguous.
I think it's straight up like at worst ambiguous, like, and probably quite positive about, like, if these two got together, it would have been great. I just don't buy it on a realistic level, but I'm completely willing to follow along that, I'm sure this was like, this was a tragedy of their life, right? But like, it's...
What if the tragedy of your life was good, actually?
Genuinely, that's kind of what I take from this. It's just like, girl, you dodged a bullet.
I mean, like, it's a very assertive reading, but that is just like I don't think it's what the episode is going for at all, but it is just like a fun reading to put out there. Like, hey, you don't know what's behind the other door. You know, maybe it's really nice for a couple of years, and then you fall off a fucking cliff, and you don't get to teach your daughter cello.
But I think that genuinely works to the episode's advantage, because I think uncertainty is such an important part there. Like, it's interesting, because I think those two are so tightly tied together, and I don't think any of the other have quite as tight a connection about the themes they want to talk about.
No, I'm struggling to build, like, any other pairs.
Like, so one thing I wanted to get into here is kind of like, how does this follow from season 6, right? Because we've had this arc that we've talked a lot about in our recaps, about the idea that, like, seasons, I don't know if I want to put numbers on them, but a lot of the middle seasons are like, here's a fucked up system. Anyway, next episode, here's a fucked up system. And we just kind of go through them. And season 6 is where we really start being like, maybe we should just burn it. And I think season 7 does not continue that. I think season 7 is a lot about how those ambitions get subverted. Like, Common People is about, like, the pure despair. Because, like, like, good ending of this. The two of them make a bunch of Molotovs and firebomb the Rivermine office. But, like, I think that is about, like, the pure despair just, like, gripping you as you slide further and further into this dystopia. Bête Noire is like, actually, I'm on top now.
Huzzah!
See ya! I'm gonna get him, boys. And I feel like, to me, Hotel Reverie is a bit harder to connect, but like honestly, I think Hotel Reverie, and to an extent, well, no less eulogy, but I think Hotel Reverie is maybe like a little bit about like getting distracted from the things that harm you, because like Hotel Reverie doesn't have enough systems to really talk about it in that sense, but it does still have like a woman who's like, yeah, I always get the secondary roles. I don't get to play like the roles that like my male co-stars get to play. And that's impetus for her to accept this contract, but it's not analyzed after that.
No, it's very much like a setup piece.
Yeah. Plaything. A part of me wants to just discard it.
Certainly agree. Yes.
Alright. USS Callister. Also a weird one. Yeah, like, I mean, I guess it retreads a lot of stuff of the original USS Callister.
You can sort of pair it with Bête Noire.
Right. I guess, like, we have a moment where our dear Kristen Milotti has like hey, you can just like have $300,000 if you want, and she goes, nah, I think I'm gonna talk to this investigative journalist.
Yeah, and then that is unresolved aggressively. Yeah, no, I mean, I think they do sort of form interesting antipoles, right? Because sort of boiling it down very aggressively, Bête Noire, you get power, sick. You start having no pushback and start sort of being evil. Conversely, Callister, you lose power, time to be normal. Time to be, I care about my fellow people. And, like, it's a fairly simple thesis.
Yeah, maybe that's where it connects to Plaything. Charlie Brooker is discovering, like, the most basic writing concepts of, power corrupts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been interacting with this notion on a completely unrelated note recently. And I've been one of the notions that have been pitched to me by Lindsay Ellis, quoting the author of The Power Broker, that rather power reveals. And I think Charlie Brooker touches upon like a facet here, because I think like power reveals is just straightforwardly true, right? Like, oh, you have complete impunity. Yeah, no, like whatever you wanted to do, you're going to do it because you have impunity. Let's go.
There's a study a while ago actually that showed that, like, the greater internet fuckwad theory, that like when you're anonymous people get shitty. Study proves when you have anonymity, shitty people are open to be shitty, and non-shitty people just don't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that very much comes to the support of power reveals.
I think that we're sort of like walking around a bit of a different theory. Because, and I guess you're more of an expert of the mind than I am, but I think it shouldn't be too controversial to say that we need to have obstacles around us to retain a grasp on reality. And power flattens those obstacles. Money flattens those obstacles. So, like, I think that is sort of where the truth of power corrupts creeps in. Because, sure, like, you can be the most virtuous person, but, like, but, like, the thing you do then with, like, astonishing power is probably, like, resign from it, right? To distribute it to more people somehow. And voila, say, for the sake of very abstract argument, that this power does or does not shrink by division, right? It doesn't matter, because as soon as you raise other people up, no matter if it puts you down or not, you suddenly, like, once more find yourself in a realm where other people have resistance, right? They're not something that, one of your aides will just, like, whisper in their ear with waving $1 billion around or whatever and make them utterly compliant because they would like $1 billion more than they would like to be straight with you. And, like... But once they have that $1 billion, right, if you just go like, well, obviously, other people should have these billions of dollars, let's even the playing field. Oh no, I'm normal again because everyone's on the same level. But if you do not take that singular escape hatch of leveling the playing field, you go like, well, maybe I've tried doing wonderful things for people. Maybe I've tried getting a little bit of, figuring out why bad things have happened to me. But like as you move forward, like your ability to recognize other people as real is just continually diminished by their inability to act upon you with force.
Yeah. Let me try to illustrate that with the beautiful example of a cat. We have a cat here in this apartment.
Yeah.
That cat was adopted out quite early from his mother. Now, how kittens differentiate between play fighting and actual fighting is to bite their mom, and that mom goes, "Hey, that hurts, fuck off." And if they do not get that learning, as an adult, they bite a bit too hard. And I think that is roughly what you're talking about here. Like, there is a point where, like, if you do not get pushback from people, like, the human mind and the human, like, we have moral reasoning, but that's not what's preventing me in the moment from punching someone when I'm upset. That's more a gut feeling of, I probably shouldn't do this because it'll hurt the other people. Like, these are learned concepts. Because, at some point as a child, a lot of children punch someone in the face and get told off, don't do that. Yeah. You have hurt another person.
And crucially, they can be unlearned.
Exactly.
They must be continually learned. Other people must remain real for you in a consequential sense.
Yeah.
Or they will stop being real to you.
And that's very much what Jesse Plemons have not had in a certain sense here.
Yeah.
And what Jimmy Simpson has not had in USS Callister.
And what he gets back and suddenly becomes very normal with.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting view on it, because I think at some point during USS Callister, we talked about, like, is Charlie Brooker's concept of Jesse Plemons, just to be clear, the character, is he just a bad person because he's a bad person and he just needs the moment to let it out? And I think with this greater perspective, I want to say no. I think there is some sort of balancing here where, like, we can have bad tendencies. This is something that, like, Charlie Brooker is quite good at snatching up.
Yeah.
And only when we have the opportunity to let them out are they actually let out. You can be the guy from The Entire History of You, and if you keep a lid on it, it might never come out.
Yeah, no, like, if you just, like, get that ball taken away from you and get, like, a healthy slap across the face when you act out, maybe you just, like, sit down for a minute and go, whew, that was crazy. Should I keep this grade? I think it's doing bad stuff.
Yeah, and I think, like, that's an interesting, to me, correlation between, like, Jesse Plemons and USS Callister, like, his I'm in power of a bunch of people version of himself, but he still has some tendencies.
Yeah, and he has a lot of power that makes other people not put up resistance, right?
Yeah, and in the moment then when he's at the center of the universe, he is essentially a god, and suddenly he can just start sneaking that in. But I actually want to say, more to the point, I think Bête Noire is the most interesting one of that, both because we get, like, a mirror of, here's a nerd, a bullied nerd, who ends up being very powerful as an adult, but also our main character was just straight up a bully, like, in high school, like, quite a...
and then she became normal.
And then she gets her power back, and she's like, alright.
Empress time.
Exactly.
And I think there is sort of, I think power corrupts, like, I think that it's a very interesting turn of phrase, right? Because corruption has such a rich like variety of meanings. And I'm currently drawn to sort of corruption as in like, oh, my hard drive's corrupted.
Why is
you
that?
know, like in the sense that like no, power doesn't like sure, power can reveal your evil in the power reveal sense, but power corrupts, no, your brain is turning into mush because reality is losing its grip on you and you are in turn losing your grip on it. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a bit of a synthesis point, but like it's there if we pull enough at the season.
Yeah. I also, just throwing it out there, I can like I think Common People continues being very interesting. Honestly, like the longer I go into this, I do kind of agree that Common People might just straight up be the number one, even over Eulogy. I was a bit 50-50 on it when we came into this. But like the Rivermind Executive is allegedly, I'm sure you could make an argument that this was just made up as an advertising thing, but allegedly is another like victim or like another person who needed help.
She's not, I don't know if she's an executive. She's like a customer interface.
Yeah, like
person.
a representative,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah.
She claims to have been like needed the same services as our protagonists do. But also like, you know, obviously very like, hey, it's pretty cushy being this like representative, and like I've been through a lot. I think I deserve like a kind of a chill job, even if I'm ripping off a lot of people and like making their lives hell.
Yeah, no, and like to be fair, there are like some interesting flags planted in this one that sort of complicate the story, because one, we are just like shown her going, I don't have the power to help you, and secondly, like, she needs that money to keep paying her fucking Rivermind bills.
But she also has like high variety where she gets to mess around with her
Yeah,
own setting.
no, I mean,
and she takes the nonchalance meter and slides it up, which is really that's I don't like. Okay, I think if I'm trying to be an objective critic, maybe that's a bit much in the moment. It's fucking hilarious.
as someone who has a fair bit of the power of nonchalance, like, very useful, but there's definitely a tinge of evil in there.
Oh yeah, I think that's a good way to describe the balance. But like, yeah, I think like if I am to really push myself, and I'm just gonna have to completely ignore at least one episode to make this point, I do think season 7 is about like rulership. Like, about the people who rule us, about their fallibility, their cowardice, their incompetence, but also how they get that way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we've talked about it in individual episodes of Jimmy Simpson, right? Just being like, oh, I'm gonna try to steal this valuable evidence. Oh no, she said no, I'm out, man.
She yelled at me!
I can't deal with this.
Also, this is why you should yell at powerful people.
Yes. Genuinely, you should make people feel bad for being shitheads.
Yeah.
But yeah, like genuinely, I think there's a lot to be said about that. I have to completely ignore Eulogy to make this point. I think Plaything is only in there kind of on the side, but also like I'm just willing to say that Plaything isn't part of this season and call it a day.
I think this reading actually does enhance Plaything a bit.
Okay.
Because it is just like, I think it adds like a little bit of a dimension of like just like raw hubris, right?
Right.
Just going like, I have maybe the ability to 1.1 update humanity, immediately going for the lever without fucking hesitation. Like, that's...
My Sims told me it was a good idea.
Yeah, no, that is just like a fun read of Plaything.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some truth to it. And yet again, a tech boy is at fault for everything. Also, to be fair, Beth Noir was a tech girl, but you get the point.
Yeah, no, girl boss.
Yeah. But yeah, genuinely, I think that's like, I think the moment in Smithereens when we get to the idiot guru at the head of the tech CEO.
Yeah, who is so fucking Jack Dorsey coded.
Yes. I think that unlocked something very, very good in Charlie Brooker. I think the fruition of this in season 7 adds so much to Black Mirror, analysis of the present moment where we get to see our idiot rulers are just very dumb. And that does not reduce their severity of their rule.
Yeah.
But we can at least stop pretending that they're gods.
Yeah, no, to get aggressively political for a moment, right?
Of course, hit it.
One of the things that I think is quite interesting about Black Mirror is its substantive disinterest in politics, right? We have the Waldo moment, and I don't think it rears its head much since.
Not explicitly that I can think of.
Right, and I think that is just a fairly strong read, because we live in an era where politics is quite disempowered, right? You have a lot of institutionalism that is just straight up not going through the bother of being very democratic, in particularly the central bank movement, which, to be clear, Donald Trump is bad. He shouldn't be doing that with the central bank. Someone who is a more democratic institution than the American presidency, which keeps getting stolen by fucking slave state minority assemblies, should maybe have oversight over the thing that controls how money works.
Yeah.
And that should probably be the way of things in many places. But also with corporations becoming so thoroughly multinational, right? And also just capturing a lot of politics sort of along the way. You run into a situation where a lot of the state is just is less rulership and more maintenance, and what we experience every day as rulership comes in two forms, that of the employee and that of the customer, and boy oh boy, neither of those are at all remotely democratic.
Yeah.
And maybe they should be. Probably, in fact, it is this podcast's position that they should be. And
I've always been a bit of an absolute monarchist myself, but that's...
Yeah, no, one of those.
You write in whether you think we should have actual workplace democracy or back to fucking Charles XII of the Swedish Empire.
Or, of course, Henry V?
My initial pitch was I was trying to think of which Louis of France.
14.
Fuck, I was gonna say 12.
He's the Sun King.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, and I think Black Mirror, just by zeroing in on these tech motherfuckers who control how our phones work, and our phones are how everything in the world interacts with us now. Maybe they are the most consequential rulers of large parts of our everyday experience, and maybe them being fucking morons who think I should quick ads, I should put more ads in this is bad.
The argument that can be made for dictatorships among some people is what if you have a really good dictator and he's in there for 60 years? And the problem is, we have a bunch of individual dictators in control of our lives right now, and they're all very dumb and insane in the most unpredictable ways.
Yeah, no, the selection mechanisms which lie behind putting someone in absolute power do not seem to be conducive to picking someone who is good.
Man, Game of Thrones really nailed it with season 8, huh? That might be the most controversial statement we've made on this podcast.
To be clear, yellow Jim.
What? That Game of Thrones?
This is not a podcast opinion. This is a Jim opinion.
I don't know. I think I'm half of this podcast. I think I can vote to make it a podcast opinion.
But yeah, no, and I think I think it's a bit grim to go like, well, politics isn't doing anything. But you know, maybe politics should get a move on. And
I mean,
the states do still have the guns. You know,
Yeah.
they could do stuff. They're just ideologically captured.
like, it's fundamentally, like,
But they don't have to be.
this isn't Black Mirror, but, like, you just need representatives to do the things they're supposed to do, right? Like, and I'm not talking about, like, Republicans getting weird. I'm talking about, like, you know, Democrats, whatever your local, like, left or even centrist-leaning areas, like, make them do their job.
Yeah, no.
Put pressure on. Strikes. Even protests are something.
Yeah, no. If someone isn't doing the thing that most people want, find a way to yell at them, preferably in person.
Yes. And vote for people who are willing to be radical about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Black Mirror doesn't go there, unfortunately. But, like, I think this is a very interesting follow-up to season 6 in that regards of, like, kind of exposing the forces you are fighting against are not gods. They are not impossible to make them fall to their knees.
Yeah, and the systems which are giving them power are turning their brains into mush.
I think, like, my new parasocial question about Charlie Brooker is, like, what, during the writing of season 5, like, who did he meet that made him go, like, my god, these people are fucking stupid? You know?
What? Smithereens was season 5?
Smithereens was season 5. It's the one good episode, and, well...
Maybe it was Jack Dorsey.
It could be. But, like,
I think Jack Dorsey's a real strong contender just by who he is.
I feel like, genuinely, okay, this is for another episode, but I think it's interesting to analyze. But yeah, like, season 7, broadly, okay, this is not what we usually do on this Black Mirror podcast, and, like, I don't think it's necessary. I want to pitch, I think this might be the, like, third best season of Black Mirror.
Well, it's a tough thing to say just because seasons have different lengths.
Yeah. They had less time to fuck up
If
season 1 and 2.
If you put the top 3 episodes of the season together and just look at them, like, that's just, like, straight up contender for, like, best material. If you look at the worst 3 episodes of the season, middle of the road, you know, that's like, it's probably still on top of, like, some of the mid-series morass.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's no Metalhead. Like, we're on, like, season number 3 with no Metalhead. That's great.
Yeah, no, like, there were every now and then there was just shit that wasn't just bad, it was also just, like, gratingly dull. We don't hit those lows this season. Right? We kept saying, like, if this is the worst, you know, we're still happy.
It's unfortunate we had to say that multiple times, but yeah.
I think it did end up still being true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, not as true as we would have liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Gosh. I'm glad Black Mirror got better again.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there might be a season 8 in this podcast in the future.
Yeah, no, we don't have a timeline on that as far as I know.
No, like, we might both be dead by that point. Sorry, I just wanted to be weirdly grim about it.
Well, you know, it's probably like a 1 in a million at least.
Don't start putting numbers to that. It's bad luck. Don't tell me the odds and so on and so forth.
It's good odds.
But, like, I don't know, man. It's just like, it becomes too concrete when you put it like that.
But yeah, no,
yeah, we're here at the cliff, man. We're done with Black Mirror, kinda. Like, apart from any addition, like, well, we're gonna make a recap episode at the very least of the entire series.
Yeah.
Coming up, and we have some ideas for, like, extra content regarding this, and I will continue to push them in the background.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am not opposed to them, so they're probably coming.
Sick.
Also,
like, we just have, like, a lot of shit to say.
Yeah, but looking at the time, I want to say, like, I think, do we have any more thoughts on season 7?
I don't personally know. I think we've gotten a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, no, and I think like also and thank you here for your insightful tying things together. I think it's another season that like really gains something like when you put it together, with the
Yeah.
exception of Eulogy, which like you know what? If you just like have 5 episodes that of varying quality that come together in a club and you go like, but this one's so good. Yeah, no, put it in there.
Yeah, like it's of the Black Mirror sins. I mean, like I would say Demon 79 is kind of like on here too, to an extent of like this is very different from a lot of the other episodes in the season, but it's just good.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. You know?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Uh,
And you're welcome, listeners. We're very smart.
yeah,
We love sharing our wisdom.
I would not have like had whatsoever had the inclination to watch through all of Black Mirror without doing analysis of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we haven't fully told the story, and I don't know if we should, but
Maybe next episode.
maybe next episode. Thank God for that one weird argument about kissing homies on the mouth that we had that one random day in the
And
apartment.
thank you, Big Joel.
Thank you, Big Joel. And do you want to throw out any other thanks? Thank you, Charlie Brooker.
Thank you, Podcat.
Thank you, podcast. He's
also-
been very quiet today.
Yeah, no, thank you for being very quiet today.
Thank you, Charlie Brooker. We've insinuated a lot of things about you, and I don't think we can stand by all of them.
No,
But-
but they were fun to allege. And we're not in the reach of British libel law.
Yeah, come get us, motherfucker.
And I don't think he's that litigious.
Also, like, I feel like we do try. I think the further this podcast has gone on, the more I've tried to be nice to Charlie Brooker.
Yeah, no, like currently he seems to be doing something approaching his best.
Yeah,
I think he can do better.
yeah. I mean,
if he lets an editor have a look over maybe some of them.
yeah. See the little bit of control. Like, I know we all want to be the author. It's just usually not a good formula.
Yeah, no, you know what we said about your power turning your brain to mush? Like, you don't have that much power, but,
You still have a brain, and your brain can turn to mush.
yeah.
Always be remembering, listeners. Your brain can turn to mush. It might be because of a plague. It might be because you have a bad brain. It could be anything, man. The
Yeah.
mush is always there.
It might be because you're in a shot that's uncomfortably close to a road.
That's also so true. Quick notes. We did have an infidelity.
Yeah.
We have a good weird guy. I want to nominate Beth Noir, really annoying guy who gets really excited about being right about a restaurant name.
It's a bit of a stretch, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not prominent enough.
No one... We did have a weird guy fucking eat it in episode 1.
Oh yeah, that was sick. I mean, like, I'm not endorsing doing this, but also kind of got what he deserved.
I mean, that is 2 like vehicle accidents this season that are very plot central.
That's true. I also want to say, Carl, I think his name is, from USS Callister. Definitely a weird guy.
Yeah.
Mildly plot relevant.
I think there Charlie Brooker was indulging a bit there.
It's a very traditional, here's a dumb guy who occasionally makes the plot move forward because he's dumb.
Yeah.
Or just, like, not even plot moves forward, just, like, makes issues. Right? Like,
Yeah.
Here we had a smooth thing, dumb guy gets dumb.
Pitch. Aquafina,
Yes.
the first
okay,
main
yeah.
character weird guy.
Yes. It's
stand by
interesting
this.
because, like, I think usually we've said that, like, weird guys cannot be plot relevant, but I think Aquafina is like, she's there's an inciting incident mostly, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Which, to be fair, I don't think the weird guys are actually cultural observations most of the time. It's just Charlie Brooker's pulling someone odd from his brain.
yeah.
Or I guess...
At most, I would say the weird guy in Macy Day, who's like, oh, I'm a bit of a soft boy, and I'm therapy expressing my opinions. Like, that feels a little bit like that. But also, That's a weird one, because that was in like 2006. Like that was not a thing that was happening at the time.
2016.
No. Macy Day. Like it takes place in like the 2000s.
Yes. Okay, I'm with you now.
Because like therapy speak is a thing these days. It was not a thing those days. If you went to therapy in 2006, you had like multiple schizophrenias at the same time.
Yeah, no, and
I'm not endorsing that.
This season we didn't hit that many of the notes. We hit a little bit of like resignation more than last season.
Well, one thing we should quickly go through: stupid twists.
The
The only thing I can immediately think of is
Callister.
What's the stupid twist, do you think?
Ending up in the brain.
Okay, yes, fully agree. The other thing I can think of, and it's not really a twist, but just like the fucking idiot plot of Hotel Reverie. That just kind of spiritually feels like it's around there, but it's not technically like the same thing.
Yeah. No, but we have one of them.
We have one of them. Also hits like a very traditional Black Mirror note of like, here's a stupid twist, it means nothing, and you go like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'll take that with me.
It does make the episode worse.
It does make the episode worse.
So, you know. But yeah, no. We hit like we had like a familiar density of Black Mirror oddities.
Yeah. Was Beth Noir British? Was that in Britain?
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was gonna say, like, this is not the most... I think this is a pretty low Britishness season.
One more observation. Actually, two more observations. Cop guy in Plaything. He's a bit of a weird guy.
But like...
a very... an unusual weird guy, but I feel like he kind of fits the bill.
I can see what you mean. I think the thing that gets me about that one, though, is that, like, he's so obviously just there to have more tension, right? Like, he's like, I have no reasonable reason to want this, but I'm going to get really obsessed with the name.
He's a bit too plot relevant to be, like, a traditional weird guy, but he makes an appearance.
For sure. I think the main issue with that is just for me that it's, like, it's clearly there to be, like, we need a guy to get violent.
And, of course... just having to note, hey, return of the Black British lady cop.
It's so true. Man. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Which one are you thinking of, actually?
Wait, I'm thinking of Plaything.
But she's a psychologist, I think.
But she's a cop psychologist.
Okay, fair enough. Copologist. Sorry.
Play Disco Elysium, everyone.
Play Disco Elysium. Why don't we say that every episode?
But yeah, no,
Season 7, man.
We hit a few familiar notes, some of them good, some of them bad. And isn't that the feeling of home?
Yeah, that's Black Mirror. Thank you for coming on this journey with us.
Yeah.
We have more farewells to do next episode, I feel like.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and see you on the other side.
See you at the cliff, at the end of our journey.